Big pole full of lights and dropped it on top of the building. If you look straight ahead of us, lift your eyes, you see what it says, Discover Card, Chevrolet, and then above it, Discover Card, there's a white New Year's Eve, and everybody goes, Happy New Year, Jones Teleprinter. And of course, they changed the lights over the years and the technology, but that's the building where it says the ball drops here, number 1 Times Square. We are just about to cross 42nd Street, leave the theater district, and leave Times Square. Next stop will be 42nd Street, if anybody already had enough and wants to get off the bus. Did anybody have enough? Okay, we're going to stop here just to pick up a few more people. The next following stops after this one will be in this order. Macy's. Okay, this is our stop for 42nd Street. Next stop will be Macy's.
Галка, помаши рукой вон туда. Гала.
2 million square feet of showroom in the fashion. If you want to know what to go about to see, come back tomorrow. It'll be open, and they'll give you that information. Nobody's going to talk to you here about manufacturing. If you check the labels on your shirts, I don't think it says made in Midtown Manhattan, just south of Times Square. Correct me if I'm wrong. All the time, why is it called Madison Square if it's round? Good question. You know what? You're lucky. You're on a bus with a real New Yorker. You know, we're famous for having an answer for every question. Even if we don't have an answer, we make up an answer. Madison Square Garden originally was a Madison Square Park. Now, I know that answer is a little dull and boring, but that's the truth. Do you want me making up stuff? I could do that. It would sound more interesting, yes. Well, I enjoy you that, by the way. If you look far to it, look at the beautiful neoclassic white building. That is our central post office since 1913. McKim, Mead, and White, 3 famous architects built in New York City. We have a building that is so big, it has its own zip code. You know that? Try sending a letter from anywhere in America. Anybody live in the heart of America? Topeka, Kansas. On the envelope you write, to Mr. Joe Miller in 10118. That's it. No, nothing else. No address. You go to the 86th floor. Some people, you all know that that's not true, right?
No.
But they believe it when I say this stuff. I don't know why. But this is true. 1 year and 45 days, a record time. I'll remind you again. Great Depression. People didn't have jobs. People working at the Empire State had a job. They didn't want to lose it. They were working very fast, efficiently. The steel beams were coming in on a daily basis from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, pre-cut, pre-drilled. The building went up at an average pace of 4.5 stories a week. Once, in good weather, it went up 14 stories in 10 days. If you were living in New York back then, in 1930, and let's say you went away to Chicago for 2 weeks to see a mother-in-law, you came back to New York, you would have recognized the skyline of the city. That's how fast it went up into the sky. Now I want to see hands. Who's in New York City for the first time? On the outskirts of New York, where the first baseball club in America, the Knickerbockers, used to practice. Legend has it that behind the park in those days there was a big glue factory. When those guys hit the ball too hard, they couldn't fetch it. They say that was the birth of the home run. Left shoulder and lift your eyes up. The building with the golden top now being cleaned up. That is the New York Life Insurance Company. Where that building stand was the location of Madison Square Garden, and this is where it has its name from Madison Square Park. Madison Square Park. Now look again straight ahead at the in 1902, this was one of the tallest buildings in New York City, 22 stories. It used to attract gusty wind off. Nobody? Okay, here's a photo I'm giving to you left, where Mr. Spider-Man, Peter Parks, was trying to sell his pictures to become a photographer for the newspaper. He was a divider between the east side and the west. Oh, you'll love it. This is New York. We're going to make a left turn here and enter the village. Now, I'm sure that when we make this left turn, some of you will be looking at the bus with the pigs and the cows and the geese and the chicken and the ducks. It's not that kind of a village anymore. The only thing left in the village of British colonial days, starting 3 blocks after we make this turn, we'll start seeing some narrow diagonal alleys running in all kinds of directions, making it extremely easy to get lost. A little different note, I just want to point out that we're passing St. Vincent's Hospital. 9/11, 2001, hundreds of injured people over here for the Twin Towers. And I don't talk about 9/11 on this tour, but we're going to stick to the left if traffic allows. And I'll show you this very moving memorial set up by children from around the nation, around the world after 9/11, here near St. Vincent's, which was also one of the main, what's that? This was also one of the main places where people came looking for their missing loved ones after 9/11. Tiles for America. Okay, we just entered the village. For over 100 years, the Bohemian capital of America, attracting writers, poets, sculptors, painters, actors, musicians, free thinkers, radical thinkers, social movements of all kinds. As I said, some famous names in the world of music started their careers here in the village, and a few names after the next stop. He knows marketing, the rest of it's all right. Okay, we're now on Bleecker Street. Anybody know? Okay. Question? Anybody know the song Bleecker Street?
На Bleecker Street.
From Simon and Garfunkel? Yes?
Simon and Garfunkel.
Anybody know the song Bleecker Street from Simon and Garfunkel? I'm not going to sing it now. Don't give me that scared look. Yes. You know, fogs rolling in off the East River bank. Like a shroud, they cover Bleecker Street, hide the shepherd from the sheep. Beautiful song. Check it out. We're going to stop next for the village. If anybody wants to get off the bus later, same place. Late John Kennedy was raised in the Upper East Side. Well, this was a school, yes, believe it or not. Now, around here, there's so many famous bars, music clubs, so many famous locations. I can't talk about everything on this tour. We're moving pretty fast. I mean, you take a walking tour if you really want to know that. Like here's the Figueroa Cafe, famous meeting place for writers and poets in the beatnik era in the 1970s. If you ever make a left here and go down McDougal Street, one block down, you're not going to see it now because of the trees. Famous Cafe Wa, launching pad for careers of Janis Joplin, Bruce Springsteen. I'm losing my voice. Bruce Springsteen, who else? Robert Zimmerman. Who's Robert Zimmerman, by the way? Bob Dylan, yes, that's his real name. 1966, Chance Chandler, the bass player of the Animals. You know, House of the Rising Sun? He misunderstood. He was visiting New York from London. He walked down McDougal Street at the Cafe Rock, just like today. Saw young guys playing their guitars. Back then, one of them was called Jimi Hendrix. He got so excited, he schlepped him all the way back to London, signed him on a contract, and the rest, how do we say? The rest is history. Yes, look to your left. Kenny's Castaway, the back fence have classic rock, the Red Line, the Terror Blues, the Asylum, the Bitter End. All these are famous bars. We have to be quiet here. They say real loud. Anyway, you see, we're going to make a right onto the Guardia place. You know, I'm Houston from Texas. That's the last piece of information. You'll be able to easily answer the next question. We just entered a neighborhood called Soho. Does anybody know what Soho stands for?
South of Houston.
South of Houston. Thank you very much. I was waiting for someone to say south of Houston. I'm missing a few legs. This is, anybody know the original photo? This is a copy of the original photo, 1932 lunchtime. The Rockefeller Center workers, including the guy to the right that's holding a bottle of whiskey and looks stunned. In the original picture, including the drunk guy, they're sitting at like 700 feet up in the sky in a beam in the middle of nowhere. Maybe it's not. I mean, I say whiskey, I'm not vodka. Sorry, Russians, because many of the workers were Irish. So decide. I don't know why. They decide.